I want to share today about why it is such a powerful, transformative journey and really why I do the work that I do. And it's, this theme is sparked for two reasons. One, I was away at a retreat in Fernie with 40 other amazing women entrepreneurs, and so many women were talking about the work that they do in the world and the deep meaning and the profound impact that it has. And I felt as equally strongly about the work that I do, even though it's in the weight loss industry. And the reason for that is, at the end of the day, when a woman is struggling with weight loss, choosing herself, prioritization of needs, self-care, it's the biggest journey you can face to get to the realization that you matter. And it's certainly a journey I had to walk, and it's certainly a journey that many of my clients have to go through to get what it takes to truly take care of oneself. And as much as we all know the oxygen mask theory, right? We all have flown, and the pilot says in the event of whatever, some trouble, the oxygen mask will come down, and please make sure that you put yours on first before helping those around you. And the tendency for so many women is to abandon themselves in those moments and to give, to try to take care of everybody else around them and self-sacrifice. And so the reason I do what I do is because what I know, and I know from personal experience and now hundreds, thousands of women that I've spoken to, is when a woman doesn't feel good about her body, herself, it shadows or impacts every other aspect of her life, from the lack of confidence you walk through day to day with, the insecurities that start to get created, the inhibition. And really what it does is it silences women, right? When you don't have the ability to start feeling confident or to speak up for what you need or what you want, you marginalize yourself in your life. And that can be in your relationships, your career, and even how you parent. And so I want to change that. Hi, Allison. How's it going? I see somebody else on too. Whoops. There we go. Welcome. And so I want to stop that, because right now I think more than ever the world has an imbalance. There's an imbalance of energy between masculine and feminine, and in terms of who has the voice. And I think women can change the world, but you cannot change the world if you cannot stand up for yourself and speak to what you want. And if you're letting your weight be the thing that holds you back, then, I'm sideways now? Really? Uh-oh. How do I do that? I don't know what I did. Thanks, Allison. What about if I go like, uh-oh. That's so strange. How do I get back to not being sideways? Am I still sideways? Can you tell me if I'm still sideways? I don't know what I did. I just swiped one thing and then it took me sideways. Let me see. I'm going to trust that I don't want people to have to watch sideways. So yes, I'm still sideways. Okay, great. What if I go like this? Am I still sideways now? But it says to rotate my phone, that you can't turn your phone while recording. Oh my gosh. And I only see the left half of you. Well, this isn't good at all. Better? Okay. Because the comments are all coming up sideways for me. Oh no, live and learn. Okay. How about if I'm like this? Better? Okay. I don't know what I did. That's the problem now. Right, and here's the point. There was probably a point in my life that if this would have happened, I would have been like, I'm failing. Now back to sideways. Oh, I was good, but now I'm back to sideways? Oh, okay, tell me right now. Am I good right now? It says I need to return my phone. Is that better now? I'm totally having a moment here, everybody. I think I'm better now. Okay, I'm going to wait till I see another. Okay, yay, all good. Whew, okay, so thank you very much, by the way. And feel free to chime in, because Allison, I think that you're one of the most amazing women I know. And I know you've been traveling quite the journey in terms of like stuff around this. And you might have some really helpful comments for women out there watching. But here's the thing that I found. It's that when we don't speak up, when we give away our power and our voice, and when we let this physical weight start to create emotional weight, there's a pressing down effect. And it happens when in your family situation, it happens in careers. I can't even tell you the number of women who are starting to pull away in their relationships through self-rejection, right? They feel so poorly about themselves and their body that they start to pull away and isolate in their friendships, in their marriages, in how they're connecting to others because of that. And so when I think back to why, I got asked a lot, the reason that this has come up for me is I got asked a lot about why I do what I do, what is the difference that I make? And, for me, it's far more than helping women just like put on a pair of skinny jeans. And yeah, I 100% believe that it is good to feel good. You want to feel good in your clothes, but more importantly, you want to feel good out of them too. You want to feel good about who you are and how you're treating yourself. And because that at the end of the day becomes a self-worth issue. It becomes a worthiness, a conversation about worthiness and being deserving and feeling entitled to not just be okay or fine in life, but actually to thrive. And so for those of you that don't know me or haven't heard me talk about it, almost everything that I do falls under the umbrella, I'm sitting under an umbrella right now, under the concept of living with energy to thrive. And that's because for so long, I felt like I was just surviving. And surviving's not enough. Surviving becomes a habit. Surviving becomes a habit where you're just getting by and you're not actually living with energy to thrive. You don't feel like you're thriving in life. You feel fine, right? And the number of masks women wear to cope is insane, right? We wear the mask of fine or the mask of good or the mask of busy, or we'll put on the mask of being overcommitted, so that we don't actually have the energy or bandwidth to attune to what's most deeply important to us because we're tired or distracted. And it's justifiable. It was amazing to me. What is amazing to me still, and it's a conversation, the Weight Loss Code Academy has opened up. We've got The Wait Is Over, another group program, my private clients, and just in community with a bunch of other women. What's amazing to me is how we are all at a point where there's such a desire for more. There's a desire to do good in the world, to make a difference, to have impact, to be relevant. And this is true whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70, right? There's a gift every woman has that is usually at some, being called forth within you. And if you don't honor it, the messages get louder, your unhappiness will increase. And if you're living in a place right now where you are not feeling the best version of you, then all that means is that it's a sign. It's a sign that there's more out there that's available and accessible to you, but it means you have to start turning in and looking at you first. That the taking care of everybody else, while it may be important, and for those of you with young kids, I get it, you've got to do the basics and more than the basics to get those little children thriving. But they cannot thrive if you are emotionally vacant. And what I know, and I will not speak for anybody else, but what I know is the experience of carrying excess physical weight, it's heavy. It's heavy psychologically. It's heavy because you start to second guess what that means. And I'm not talking about like with the marketing and media and what society projects or portrays about what kind of a woman is beautiful or acceptable in society today. I think that's shit. Right? I think that we all are being bombarded with it, and we've got to do our best for the children and the women, like the girls below us, to help them understand that that's all fake, and to really get clear on what beauty and confidence and security and feeling safe looks like. But how can we teach that if we are not that? We have to be it to teach it and to understand it. We have to own it. And that means often going through those dark periods, whatever that darkness looks like for you, and coming through it. There's something that I love. There was a quote that I found once that said, a seed is planted in the dark, right? Think of a seed being planted in the earth. It is dark. And that is where the potential of that seed lies. It has to be put in the dark in order to grow. Those dark times in our life can be the most transformative periods of our life if we let them become that. But often what we do is we numb the hard because it's so painful. Who wants to experience the hard? But when you numb the hard, you numb the joy. And then pretty soon you're just living at a 5 out of 10. And that becomes a habit. And so I encourage women to break that mold, right? And it starts with learning, what are your emotional habits? What are your physical habits? What are behavioral habits? What are your food habits? What are your alcohol habits? What do you do when you're alone and no one's watching? What do you think on those times when it's tough? Where does your thinking go? Where do you let your thinking go? And are you asking yourself about who you want to be and how you want to live life? That's going to be the grounding force. And as you start to do that, and as you learn, 100%, there's some things that we have to learn. If you want to learn how to lose weight in a healthy way and you haven't done it up until this point, I don't care how old you are, it just means simply that you don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle. You might know a lot and you might be doing some of it, and you might be doing some of it right, but it means that if you have not been able to be successful in your weight loss journey up until this point, then that means you need to get some help and support, because there are people who know how to do it, who can help you in a way that does not make you a crazy person. I'm 100% one of those people, but there's lots of other healthy weight loss coaches out there who can help you. Because at the end of the day, if you could have done it on your own, you would have by now. And most of us who have big dreams to achieve in this world, we don't do it on our own. And the biggest myth is, I can and should be able to. Well, it's not true. If you can and should have been able to, you would have. So the obvious answer is you can't and you need some help. But women asking for help and even receiving help in this area is so foreign that we will just stay surviving. And so, I had to do a lot of sort of very profound, deep, inner reflective work this weekend to talk about why I do what I do and what's important about it. And beyond just, I want women to feel better about themselves, which of course I do. But I really want to shift the balance of power that exists in the world right now. I want women to not just be a silent partner at the table, but I want them to be in the conversation, leading the conversation. I want us to have the ability to stand strong in who we are and what we know and show up, not just for ourselves, but for the people who depend on us. We can't do that if the only voice that's getting heard is the masculine voice. We can't. The male voice. And so that's why I do what I do. Yes, I 100% want you to be able to feel awesome in a pair of jeans and a tank top and know that when you go out, you look awesome and feel awesome. But what I care most is about the health of your spirit, the nurturing of your soul, and not letting yourself get left behind as you give and give and give and give to others. Because when you give and give and give and there's nothing coming back to you and you're not able to receive, you become drained and empty. And Allison, you kept me determined to thrive and not get swallowed up with surviving or suffering. Thank you. Right? And I'm not saying that surviving and suffering, we sometimes go through it. There's many points. That's why I had the concept of energy to thrive, is because people ask me, how am I doing? And I would say, I'm just surviving. And that's not enough. It's not enough to just be at that level. You have to be able to push for more and want more, not just for yourself, but for those that really, that you can impact. And so if you're watching and you're feeling like, wow, I have been stuck, or things aren't going well for me, or this has been the area of challenge in my life, or this is a part of me that I haven't been able to honor. Linda, hello, good morning, good afternoon, Then first of all, recognize that you're not alone, and recognize that the messages in life, you've got to pay attention, right? Because they're coming at you. Messages come in so many different ways, shapes, and forms, whether it's in the form of lyrics in a song when you get into a car, or somebody suggesting something or saying something to you, or being able to read something in a book and it's deeply meaningful, or you just simply have an idea about something or a thought, or you think, this should be better. I wish I could be happier. I wish there was, I wish I could feel better about life or about things or myself. That's a message, and the message is telling you that it's time to take action, right? That it's time for you. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. I tried to do a Facebook Live last week when I was driving and trying to find Wi-Fi, and I couldn't find it. And this was all probably much more, this is very alive for me because I had just left Fernie. And, I think women need women. I really do. And I think women need good women. And when you're around women who ask you those questions that cause you to go deeper into your purpose and what's at stake for you and what deeply matters to you, you rise up. And so my wish for anybody watching, get real with Jen, who's being held back in any way in your life by physical weight or emotional weight, and usually the two do go hand in hand. Reach out and connect. Let me see if there's a way I can help or support, because I'd sure love to. I'll always put a link in the comments below. And questions, whether it's a question about nutrition or a question about, emotional resilience, because at the end of the day, getting healthy requires an incredible amount of emotional reprogramming. I'd love to support you. So I'd ask yourself this week to pay attention. How often Are you thinking and feeling things? And what is not getting said? What is not getting identified or talked about for you? Because the time is coming, right? The time is now for you to start stand up, or, to find your voice. And there's so much power and strength that comes when you're able to speak to your deepest desires and give voice to them. So I hope you have a super week, everybody. I don't know if you can tell, but we are in the Okanagan where it is super smoky still, and this is actually a lot better than yesterday. So hopefully the skies will start to clear, and we'll be back next week for our last Get Real with Jen this August. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.